Hello and welcome to another exciting edition of Santos on Sports. It's easy to remember because, Santos is here and Santos is right there. And we are thrilled to be talking to this gentleman right here. Not only is he a Stanley Cup champion, he's a back-to-back Stanley Cup champion, the head athletic trainer of the champion Tampa Bay Lightning. He, of course, is originally from our great city of New Bedford, Mr. Tom Mulligan. Hello, Tom, and congratulations again.
Thank you, guys. It's great to be on. Appreciate you having me. And obviously, it's a way to keep in touch with the old local community back there in New Bedford. And can't forget where you came from. And I'll never forget my years there. You got me to this point.
Well, last year you won the Stanley Cup, and what a great thrill it was. I know you were there in 2004. There's a long distance between 2004 and last year. But, last year you're in the bubble. You're out there in Edmonton. The family couldn't be there, but you came back and celebrated and all that. And I'm sure that was still a wonderful, great thrill. But we'll just put a little but there. But this time you won it at home at the Emily Arena, family there, big crowd. I mean, that must have really, really put the icing on the cake.
Yeah, you know what? Obviously, like you said, I'm very fortunate to have been part of this organization for 19 years now and 3 Stanley Cup championships. And each one is so different, and each one of them have been so special. And the one question I get asked most is which one was the best, or which one meant the most. And it's cliche, but I can honestly say that all 3 experiences were special in their own way, and they're very different. I look back to 2004, and I was young at the time and had only been in the league for 2 years and had an opportunity to win the Stanley Cup. And, you realize at that moment that being part of the team and being involved in it, that your name's going to be on the Stanley Cup and it'll be there forever. And so that was special. My parents were able to be there. My brother was there in 2004 when we won. And at the time my oldest, Tyler, was born. So it was great as a family. And then you fast forward 16 years to 2020, and a lot had changed over that time. We had two more kids after that, and really made roots here in Tampa, and a lot of friends here. And professionally, there were some tough years with the Lightning in between during those times, and we were close many times in 2015, 2016, 2018. We had a 62 win season in 19, and then you start wondering, is it ever going to happen again? One of my thoughts at the time was I'd love to win again, to have the family be able to experience it, and to go through the joys of the celebrations and just being a part of that. And the kids were old enough and to be able to enjoy it. And then you end up in the bubble, and those thoughts of sharing that winning experience, it didn't happen at the time. I mean, fortunately, we got home. We were able to celebrate it a little bit when we arrived back in Tampa, but it's still not the same. But in saying that, it was a special moment that, the family did, kind of was along for the ride from a distance. But you still have a little bit inside of you that says, geez, if there was ever another chance to win and enjoy it, in person with the family. And here we are now. And 2 weeks ago tonight, we were able to do that, or yesterday, I should say. It just third time in 3 very different ways, 3 very different experiences, and all special in their own way.
Tom, an impressive resume. You're on your 23rd year. Obviously 19 with Tampa. You had 4 previous in the AHL with the Providence Bruins, winning a Calder Cup there in your first year. You've been on Team USA and World Championships in 2008 and 12. You were on the Olympics in year 14. You were Trainer of the Year in 2004 and 18. And as you say, some GMs, some owners, some players, coaches, trainers, staff never even sniff a Stanley Cup or anything like you have. How surreal is this for you, and how special do you feel?
Yeah, like I said, it's a lot of it is truly being in the right place at the right time, and being in a great organization. And I'm very fortunate to have been part of this. A lot of it is you get an opportunity and you have to take advantage of it. And I don't consider myself any different than a lot of people in my position around the league, or in other positions for that matter, whether it's management, coaches, players, and that, you know, you put your best foot forward, but you also have to be surrounded with great people. And through the years, I have been in my experiences and made some great relationships along the way. And it's really, like I said, I'm just fortunate to be here. And right now with our organization from the top down, our owner, Mr. Vinnick, and it makes you, when you go in each day, want to do that little extra more to try to, you know, continue to maintain that winning culture and the championship feel that you have around an organization. And you never want to be satisfied, and you want to continue striving to do your best every time you walk through those doors.
Well, I wanted to talk to you about some of the pictures here. Did you say that your name ends up in the cup? Is that correct?
Yeah. So it'll be on there 3 times now.
Your name as the head athletic trainer.
Correct. Yeah.
All right. So the next time I see the Stanley Cup, the first time I saw the Stanley Cup, I want to look at Bobby Orr and Phil Esposito, right? And all that. Right? I was like, wait a minute, roll that baby, roll that baby around. I want to see Mully over there.
Yeah,
that's unbelievable. That
was really neat. Last year when we actually had the Cup here in Tampa, they were actually able to engrave it last year's before we had it. With, you know, COVID situation, everything was changed last year, and so when I had it at the house here, you know, my family and friends here were able to see my name on there in 2004, my name on there last year in 2020. So that was pretty neat to be on there. And you like you said, you spin it, and there's Mario Lemieux and Wayne Gretzky and Bobby Orr and Ray Bourque. And so, yeah, it's pretty special to just to have your name on there and, you know, realize it's you're part of the journey.
You look like you're just feeling the emotion holding that cup up. Like, how many people never get a chance to do it?
That one right there, I was actually facing the family, and they were up in the crowd, and it was one of those things, like I explained earlier, just for them to be there for that moment. And, you know, my kids at great ages, that they could experience this whole celebration was awesome. Something I will for surely never forget, and probably will end up being the highlight of my career. So, you know, the kids,
obviously, Tom,
the kids get to experience
very difficult the last few years.
Interesting celebrations in the locker room. So that was something they won't forget either.
Yeah, it's really nice. I know that I did remember seeing the one with the the ring. You're going to have like at least half a hand filled up, you know, and you know, we were asking about, you know, people ask you which one, they're all different. You know, I think that's a question that Tom Brady gets all the time.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. But, you know, but the jewelry's nice, that's for sure. And you know, when I called the Cup ring back in '99, I remember getting that. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. And 2004, you know, Stanley Cup ring, and you see that, and like this, I can't believe I'd ever have a piece of jewelry like this. And then you get the one last year that Mr. Vinnick and his family helped design for our organization. I mean, it was just completely breathtaking. And you know, you see it and you compare it to some of the other teams, and when you have the actual company that made it that tell you that this was probably the toughest one they've put together, or nicest one they've put together as far as the design and you know, the amount of work that went into it, it's pretty special.
Tom, the last 2 years, how difficult was it for you and your staff with COVID, the pandemic, in the bubble, and, you know, trying to get everything back to normal, to deal with, you know, what you've had to deal with your players and the team? You know, kind of take us through maybe a little bit of a daily routine for you, anything special that you had to do from the normal years compared to the last 2, which is obviously tough for everybody. That's
a great point. I will say that I never thought I'd become a COVID expert the way I have over the last 2 years. Never saw that coming. It completely changed my role. Probably professionally the most challenging 2 years or 2 seasons, I should say, since we started the bubble. From just the daily protocols to the monitoring and the questions, and what every team basically was asked to have a compliance officer, and that person could be could be either an athletic trainer. Some teams it was a travel person, But our role, and I was our compliance director here in Tampa, it was basically trying to ensure that every single day, everybody in that group, your entire traveling party, the players, coaches, staff, the traveling staff, families were following the strict protocols that were in place. And there was a challenge. To be honest, I thought the bubble was tough going into it, but that paled in comparison to how difficult this past season was. And the reason for that simply was we were home. In the bubble, you were confined. You really couldn't get into trouble. You couldn't stray from the protocols. It was league run, and it was much easier to kind of control it. But this past year, it was a challenge in that you're out, the players are leaving, they're going home, and you had to try to really enforce. You can't go to restaurants. You gotta. The testing every day. I mean, we COVID tested nearly every day from June of 2020 before the bubble until 2 weeks ago. It was crazy. And, but it was all put in place by the league and the Players Association to try to get us to complete a season and prevent an outbreak. And obviously the health and safety of everyone involved at the same time. And I took it very seriously. And I joked a lot of times over the years or just over this past year, that the players used to love me and now they hated me because I was the one every day on them. Put your mask on. Don't go here. Don't. So it was a different role, but I know everybody around the organization, respected me for it and understood what the goal was. And but it was a challenge. And one other thing down here in Florida, I mean, sure you've heard the stories. Like we were pretty wide open through most of COVID, through the winter here and last fall. So that was a little more of a challenge, try to rein our group in from straying too far, going to restaurants or going out, and as opposed to like some of the northern cities or even up in Canada where everything was still on lockdown.
Well, speaking of the players, right? The Tampa Bay Lightning, and you got a deep group there. I mean, we could go through the whole roster, but certain names come to mind, like Victor Hedman back on D there, a real leader, Braden Point, Kucherov just having a tremendous playoff. And in net, Vasilevsky, I'm looking at this guy as, a Bruins fan. We thought the Bruins were going to get past the Islanders and play Tampa, which would have been great. Yeah. But I'm looking at your goaltender, right? Perhaps the best goaltender in the league. And I see him playing, and he's so big and he covers the net. And then the areas of net that he doesn't cover, he goes into these big splits, and he's got these great, reflexes with the glove and the blocker and everything else. I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, if we get by, the Islanders, how are we going to get the puck past this guy? This guy, I mean, he's just unbelievable.
Yeah, that's, like I said, it's a special group. Individually and collectively, I mean, you look at some of the performances by our guys over the last couple of years, and you want to start with him this year. I'm sure people have heard it and read it or seen people speak about it, but he truly is driven to be the best ever. Like, he really wants to be the best in the world. And every single day he worked hard as any player, especially any goalie I've seen or come across. And he's never satisfied. I mean, you're up 5-0 late in the game and he gives up that one goal and he's not happy about it. He wants to be the best and he works at it, and it trickles down. We have that throughout our team, from the Victor Hedmans and this, Steven Stamkos and Cooch and Andre Palat or Alex Killorn, like even some of the, the lesser known names. It's just a group that it really was inspiring to watch every day and to see them go out there and do that. And, we all know, unfortunately, we're not able to keep it together for forever. And obviously you're seeing now we're going to lose some players this summer. We already have. But, that was part of the motivation this past year too, is we didn't know how much longer the group would be together as a whole. And it really drove the guys to try to win again and do something special, back to back as a team.
Yeah, Tom, you talked about staying together, and even for you in your career, you come out of Quinnipiac and you get to the AHL with Providence. How did that happen, number one? And then number two, leaving Providence to go to Tampa, and you've been there ever since. How did that happen? You've said it before, you got to be at the right place at the right time. Two situations for you. which has obviously led to a Calder and 3 Stanley Cups. Describe a little bit about, that situation and how it all fell into place for you.
Yeah, I was at Quinnipiac in the physical therapy program, and coming out of there, you're assigned to different internships after your senior year. And I had my assignments set, and then one day the assistant athletic trainer or physical therapist with the Bruins at the time, his name was Tim Trahant. He was a Quinnipiac grad. He called a school, and this was in the summer of '97. He called the school and said, "Hey, we're looking to take a student next year. We'd love to have a PT student. I know the program at Quinnipiac's great. Do you have anybody that you know would be a good candidate? Ideally, we're looking for somebody who knows the game of hockey, has some experience in hockey, and is would really do well in that position." And again, being in the right place at the right time, it landed on me. I played hockey. I worked as a student athletic trainer at Quinnipiac with the hockey team. I was working on my physical therapy degree while at the same time getting my athletic training certification. And luckily, it was exactly what they were looking for. So I connected the 97-98 season with the Bruins in an internship. And like I said, you're in the right place, but I had an opportunity and had to make the best of it. And obviously, I made a good impression in that summer of '98. Again, timing, the position of athletic trainer opened in Providence, and Donnie Del Negro, who's still in Boston to this day, reached out to me and said, "Would you have any interest?" Of course, I would. I mean, it's a half hour from New Bedford. It's part of the Bruins organization, and then I saw what the actual job salary offer was, and I was like, "Ooh, wow!" But it was worth the risk. I mean, it was low risk, high reward, and I spent 4 years there, and was able to again make some great connections along the way with Peter Laviolette as the head coach for 2 years and winning a Calder Cup, and Bill Armstrong, who's now the GM in Arizona, and I actually met Stan Wong along the way. Stan, longtime athletic trainer in the NHL, is from Fall River. At the time, he was with the Panthers. After I think he was in Washington for about 17 years, ended up moving to the Panthers, and we would get together in the summer and golf. And I reached out to him one day, and I just said, "Hey, when are you going to be up here this summer? We'll get together." And he called me back and he said, "You know what, Tommy? I was just let go by the Panthers. There was management change. The former GM of the Lightning is moving to the Panthers, and they're bringing the athletic trainer down from Tampa." And my first question was, "Well, Stan, you obviously, I think you're probably interested in going to Tampa." And he said, "I don't know. I've been doing this a long time." He said, "But you should put your name in down there. Like it would be a good opportunity for you." And so my next phone call was down to Tampa, and then I talked to Peter. Peter knew John Tortorella pretty well, who was head coach here at the time, and I came down and interviewed. And again, they were looking for a young person with energy and just to get a start in the league. And I kind of brought what they were looking for, and that's how it all came about. And again, it's just several situations where you was given the opportunity and just had to take advantage of it.
Your role during the game, Tom, right? Sometimes you see a player gets injured, gets banged up, and they kind of limp off and go down the tunnel. And then hockey players, right? They're the toughest of the tough, right? Next thing you know, 10 minutes later, they're back on the ice. They either get stitched up or they got bandaged up or the adhesive got put on or something like that. Could you share with us what you would generally do in those situations? And does anything like pop out at you that may have happened this year in the playoffs?
Oh, yeah, this year we had a lot of situations that were head scratches that you're thinking, wow, this could be a tough one. And our guys just continued to battle. But you know what? When an injury happens in game, the first thing you want to do is, how severe is it? Can they hurt themselves more by continuing to play? Like that's the biggest thing. And what risk is it for them to continue playing if they are able to? You have to evaluate the situation, the time of game, the time of the year it is. But you want to, you have to make your decisions to again, the health and safety of the players is why we're here. I mean, the players have trust in us to protect them, and they trust in us not to put them in situations that are going to do more harm. So that's our first priority, is looking at that situation, say, okay, if you go out here, this is going to get worse. So we can't let you go. And, when it comes to the playoffs, probably the most enjoyable part for me is the players want to keep going. They want to keep playing. They don't want to miss a shift. They don't want to miss a game. So our challenge is, okay, what can we do to allow you to keep playing safely? And it's great. I mean, it's awesome. I mean, I know you heard it's come out publicly. Alex Killorn for us, he fractured his fibula in game 1 of the finals, and we knew he wasn't going to be able to play the way the way the fracture was, and we discussed it with our medical staff and decided to actually give him an opportunity to potentially play later in the series if he had surgery to have a rod inserted in the fibula. It would stabilize the fracture, and fast forward a week and see where we're at and give him the opportunity. And he was on board with that. And, we did it. He had surgery on a Thursday. He skated Saturday. It was really remarkable. And he didn't actually play, but it was close. There's a chance he could have played in a game 6 if we had it. But it's things like that just it makes the job enjoyable and rewarding when you're in that situation and you see these guys battling through the playoffs. And I could go up and down our lineup this year through the playoffs. I mean, we were really banged up.
Do you make the call, Tom? The player going back?
It's a joint decision. Myself, our team physician, the player obviously, is involved, and you weigh all the options. And I think they lean on me a little bit based on my years of experience and being able to, the things I've seen and the risks involved. But ultimately, it's a joint decision, and you have to do what's best for the player and for the team at the same time.
Well, as a fantasy hockey owner, Tom, you couldn't get Kucherov a little bit better, faster for me during the regular season. He misses the regular season, kills me in fantasy, and then I had watch him dominate in the playoffs. And a great job of getting him back, but unfortunately for me, not at the right time.
Yeah, that's obviously been a much debated topic in NHL circles this season. But I can honestly say that he it's well known he had surgery right after Christmas. His recovery probably was a little bit quicker than we thought. He wanted to come back earlier, but from it just wasn't safe for him to. And we knew at the time that if the stars aligned, he could be ready probably in second round of the playoffs. Maybe that was our target at the time of surgery and early on in his rehab. And he literally, his goal was to get back and be ready for those playoffs. And he busted his butt and really put in the work. And, again, it's one of those things where the stars aligned. He was ready early, but even when he was, we didn't know internally, we didn't know what we were going to get out of him. He hadn't played the whole season. He hadn't played since game 6 of the finals against Dallas. Yep. And, you take that much time off. We didn't know as a group. And I will, people ask now, is there a point that you thought you guys would win this year? And truly, in my mind, it was game 1 against Florida when he went out and had 2 goals and assists in his first game back. And it opened everybody's eyes, like, wow, he's really back. And this is going to be a difference maker. And it obviously worked out in best case scenario for us.
If you got a question for Tom Mulligan, head athletic trainer for the back-to-back Stanley Cup champion Tampa Bay Lightning, type it right in. Someone here has typed in, congratulations on the back-to-back cups, Ann Baptista. Sean Tavares, former New Bedford coach, is looking in today, so a shout-out to Sean. Anthony James Carrero watching today, and he says, look at all that memorabilia. See, we got an observant audience here. He's looking in the background there, and he's like, hey, wait a minute. Which one is your favorite autograph back there?
You know what? It's got to be my Ray Bork one here.
Really? Oh, okay.
That was a year I spent in Boston as as an intern, and at the end of the year he signed that for me, and it says to Tom, "Good luck, buddy."
Hey, the people up in Boston here are very happy that you're pointing out the Ray Bork.
Yeah, I mean, that's, like I said, these were the roots, and he was my idol growing up. And I've told many people the story in the past when the first day I walked into the locker room, and
I remember.
I met him. I was just completely blown away, and then spending that season with him and being able to work with him, it really something I'll never forget. And that's where that came from.
I remember you told me that story. You walked in and Ray said, "Hi, Tom, I'm Ray Bork," and you're like, and you're like, "No kidding."
And, there were some of the other players in the locker room at the time, and he, Donnie, the trainer there, is introducing me. Tim Taylor, Jason Allison, Anson Carter, and obviously I knew those guys. I was a huge Bruins fan, and then Ray walked in the training room, and he leaves. He just walked in, kind of scanned the room, and left, and I was just frozen. And then he came back in a couple minutes later and came right up to me and puts out his hand, and he says, "Nice to meet you. I'm Raymond." And I'm like, I didn't at Tom. Just in case I didn't know.
Story. That's a great story.
Yeah. So, yeah, but it's like I said, those relationships you make, and the players throughout all the years, they're special. They're great guys, and really down to earth. And it's like I said, I'm really fortunate to be able to work with such a great group of athletes and friendships you make for life.
You still got family here in New Bedford, right?
I do. My mom and brother are still in New Bedford. My sister's in Lakeville. They're probably the ones you see driving around town with Lightning memorabilia everywhere.
Exactly.
Well, I live in Lakeville, Tom, so I'll have to look out for that. And if I see it, any memorabilia of Tampa Bay here in Lakeville.
Probably a relative of mine, or the Rocha family as well, close family friends of ours. I think they're full-time Lightning fans now.
My kids played hockey in high school, and actually my oldest son, Dylan, played for Bridgewater State. So it was a lot of fun watching the games and going to the games as a parent and all that. And the funny thing is there's a lot of games at the old Hetland Arena, and when Dartmouth plays Stang, we got like 1,000 people in the rink, and the place is going. It's a little rivalry over here, and I'm announcing the games, which is a lot of fun. But the thing is, I'm looking at that, and I'm like, hey, Mulligan started right here at the old Hetland, right? So you must have some memories of coming up the ranks in the hockey circles, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, that's where my love for hockey started, and like I mentioned earlier, I knew very quickly that I wasn't going to make a career out of playing. I was just happy to get through playing a high school career, so I had to adjust and try to find another way to stay involved in the game. And leaving high school to go to college, that's how I kind of came up with my major. I loved sports. I wanted to do something in the medical field, and sports medicine. I kind of merged it together. Let's pursue that. And I never, ever would have in my wildest dreams thought for a second that I'd be working in professional hockey, and especially in the NHL. That was never even, I can honestly say that wasn't even a goal of mine.
What position did you play?
I was a defenseman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was, you must, actually, I know you, I was just going to say you, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was a stay-at-home defenseman. I think Coach Tavares used to tell me to stay at home.
Yeah. Well, hey, you got to go with your strength, right? But you see these guys, right? The talent level that these players have now and the speed, it's unbelievable. And when you go to a game and you see it in person, you must be in awe at the skill that and the hard work these guys have.
Obviously at the level that I see, but even through youth hockey now and the stuff the kids are doing today. And my middle son, Zach, he's 15. He's playing down here, and just to see what they do in the skills development and the time that they put in, and the hours and travel, and it's crazy. And we were excited to have a couple practices a week and a game on Saturday. Now, the kids, if you're truly going to progress and play now, you can't take a week off. And, I don't necessarily always agree with that. But that's just the way it is now. And the amount of effort and time that's put in, but the development and the skills it's unbelievable.
Chris, one more.
Tom, what's next? What's next for Tom Mulligan? What would you like to see, Tom, in your near future? How you would like. Obviously, another ring would be nice, but I'm saying, anything different in the NHL or anything for you that.
You know what? Every year is a new challenge, and you want to continue to try to be the best that you can in your position, and I can't say that I have a plan or a goal or how long I'm going to do this or how long they're going to want me to do this. Literally, you take it year by year and you try to be successful, and you don't know what's going to happen the next day. And I've tried to be a good role model for the kids and to see the amount of work that it takes, and the amount of hours and the travel and the being away from home is tough during the season. So that's one thing that has been a challenge through the years. But like I said, just try to be part of another, continue to be part of the winning organization and do what I can to help the team be successful.
Tremendous. Well, it's been a lot of fun chatting with you. I have one view I have about the game is I still think the goalie pads are a little bit too big. You know what I mean? Like I grew up in the Gilles Gilbert era. Well, like in Jerry Cheevers, somebody went for a shot near the post. They had to go into a split to stop it. I know the game has changed a lot, but obviously you got big goalies.
See the experience, the old highlights, and you think, geez, how many goals would Ovechkin score if he played in the 60s?
Oh, yeah, exactly. I know.
But it's changed so much.
Yeah. Anyway, so hey, thank you very much for joining us here. It's just fantastic that you've had this great experience winning the cup. And the funny thing is your mayor got into a little bit of hot water because he wanted you to lose Game 4 so that you come back and win the game in Tampa. So it's like, you guys delivered.
That was a hot topic in the locker room too. when that statement came out before Game 4, that raised a lot of eyebrows. And obviously nobody planned it that way, but the way it worked out couldn't have been any better. It truly, worked out the best. And, had we won in Montreal, not having families there would have been tough and would have been just like another bubble experience from the year before. So it did work out in best possible case scenario. And we didn't plan it that way, but we'll take it.
And there they are celebrating the Stanley Cup.
Keep Kucherov healthy for me, Tom. That's what I asked for you this year.
He's going to have a great off season. Well, a short off season, but at least a solid off season of training and staying healthy, and he'll be flying next year. I know that.
Hey, somebody got this great picture. Awesome. Somebody got this great picture of you holding the Stanley Cup, and then it went up on the Jumbotron, and then somebody went click, and look at that. You get the final score, 1-0. The shots on goal there and everything else, and there's Mulligan holding the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, that the way that played out was perfect.
Beautiful. Again, thanks very much for joining us here on Santos on Sports. We really appreciate it. Congratulations again, and we'll see what happens next year. You guys have a great team, and I know you're going to be going for the 3-peat. I know that's hard to be even looking that far ahead, but you guys have a great team, and you never know. You always want to win one more. Remember Tom Brady? They asked him, "What's your favorite?" He said, "The next one."
Yeah, that's true. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. And like I said, great to be able to have a little connection back to the old hometown and share it with the local community back there. And hopefully let's try to book an appointment again for this next year.
And maybe the Bruins in Tampa will play. Wouldn't that be cool?
I thought that was. I thought we were on a collision course this year. I thought that was going to happen, and just makes for a lot of arguments with friends back at home and wondering where their true loyalties are.
Yeah, right. They're like, well, I'm a Bruins fan, but I'm kind of pulling for Mulligan. But then you're wondering something about that laundry.
That's that. I found that out when we lost the conference finals in 2011. I thought I had a lot of friends until we were pulling for you, and then they're driving around with their Bruins gear. And
Hey, thanks again, Tom, and all the best. And hey, we'll see you again a year from right now, possibly.
Sounds good. Take care, guys. I appreciate it.
Tom Mulligan, head athletic trainer on Santos on Sports. Have a great day, everybody.